guys, welcome to part 2 of our tutorial on Hyperledger Composer. So let's go ahead and set up our environment for deployment on blockchain. In this video, I'm going to cover installation on Linux Ubuntu machine using virtual environment on Windows host. Now, installation on Windows is not supported by Hyperledger at the moment, and therefore we will be using virtual environments such as VirtualBox or VMware. And now here I'll be using VirtualBox. Now for this I'll be using the official documentation of given by Hyperledger Composer, and this is a very good document, and it's always recommended that we follow this documentation. So in order to get started, you need to first get into go onto this website, which is hyperledger.github.io/composer/latest, and after that you just click on install Hyperledger Composer, and now click on installing prerequisites. Now as you see, right, there's only Ubuntu and Mac OS, there's no Windows here, and therefore we'll be using but we have our host machine as Windows, and on that we are going to mount virtual machine, and we are going to run that run Ubuntu in the virtual machine environment. So if you see if you go through this Ubuntu, the recommended configuration that is for operating system that is given is Ubuntu Linux, which is 16.04 14.04. So we are going to use 16.04 for this tutorial, and if you go down, okay, so these are, you don't have to know these are okay, we can take care of it afterwards. And this is one recommended thing, which is if installing Hyperledger Composer using Linux, be aware of the following advice, which is log in as a normal user. Will take care of that, not we will not log in as a root, and this is one thing that we need to go. Okay, so let's go ahead and see. We'll download our Oracle virtual machine, which is this one. This is VirtualBox. This is the virtualbox.org /bk/downloads. So once you get into it, you click on this because your host is Windows, and when you click onto it, it will download the VirtualBox for you. Once it is downloaded, you need to install it, and during installation you just have to select all. You have to leave everything as defaults, and it's very easy. It will be downloaded. Now I already have this, and therefore I'm not going to download it again. But it's pretty easy to get it installed. So, and if you have any issues, then probably there are a lot of videos on YouTube which you can watch and try and maneuver it. And if not, then you can ask. You can leave some comment on our comment section. Okay, so once this is downloaded, VirtualBox, you have to download Ubuntu. So we'll go to downloads, and remember it is 64-bit because it's given the prerequisites, which is where it's given as recommended both 64-bit. So we need to go and click onto 64-bit, and you need to have 16.04 because that is what is recommended, 16.04. You can however download this too, but obviously do whatever has been recommended, because that's going to save a lot of time for you and avoid a lot of headaches. It's going to work perfectly. So click on this and download it, and once it is downloaded, we need to set up our virtual environment. Okay, so let's go ahead and see. This is my Oracle VM VirtualBox, which I already had, and open this up. So this is the Oracle VM VirtualBox Manager, and so we are going to, these are my old projects, so not to worry about that. So you go and click on new and give it a name. I will give it Hyperledger. Spelling is correct, yes. And you have to select Linux Ubuntu 64-bit. It's already done. Now go to memory size, I would recommend somewhere around at least 2 GB, but you can extend up to this green. So create, next, next. Now this, I have 2 TB of data on my host machine, but 2 TB of space memory in my hard disk space is on my host machine. So I would recommend minimum of 100 GB, but let's take it as default, create. Okay, so now we need to go to settings and storage, empty, Ubuntu mate. All right, so now let's get started. Okay, so it's starting now, and okay, so once you get this, click on install Ubuntu Mate and select the defaults, continue, leave it as this because this is anyway virtual machine. Install now, continue, continue. So we'll leave it as default English US. This one, and then continue. So we need to give some name. So I'll give it Hyperledger, and I'll give the same name as this, or I'll keep it as Hyperledger box because this is my virtual box, and because this is a virtual environment, so I'm not going to give some strong password. That's okay. Continue. Alright, now this is going to take some time, so I would pause this video and I'll resume again once the installation is done. Okay, so our installation is complete, and you need to restart the computer. So I'll go ahead and restart. Press enter. Okay, so our virtual machine is starting now. So it is asking for my password, which I had set. I'll go ahead and put the password. Alright, so my virtual machine is all set and I can get started. So the first thing is to open the official documentation in this virtual environment, because the last time that the one which I had opened up, that was in the host machine. We'll go and skip this one, close it. Okay, so for that I'll click on this browser, and in the meantime, while this browser is opening, let's open our command line. That is by Control Alt T. So this is our command line. If you see that it's by default it has opened in user directory, and this is what was recommended, that we should run this in user directory, not on our root directory. If you wanted to check that, uh, our root directory is this is home folder is our root directory, which here is not recommended, and Hyperledger is our, as we know, that is our user directory. And so we'll go ahead and go back to our user directory. Okay, so we are in our user directory, and let's open the official documentation which we had. So still remembering, I'll Hyperledger Composer, this one, the second link over here. Alright, so we are in our official documentation. We'll go ahead and click this one and click installing prerequisites. Browse down. So this is the first thing that we're going to do, is we are going to run this command, and don't worry about the Linux commands. If you're not familiar, if you're not comfortable with Linux commands, so say about, I would recommend you set up another virtual machine on the same, and there are a lot of material which are available online and on YouTube, a lot of tutorials, and you can try and practice it. Say about 1 week of practice will make you much comfortable with all the Linux commands. So let's go ahead and copy this and run this on our command line. Okay, so because curl command, because I'm doing this for the first time, so obviously curl command is not installed on my on this machine, and therefore we need to install this. For this, we just need to copy the sudo apt install curl, copy this and paste it, and it's asking for the password. So this is going to install the curl command, and once it's press Y. So once it's installed, we will be able to run the curl command and download. What this is going to do is, this curl command, what this is going to do is, this is going to download the prereq ubuntu.sh script, and so we'll go ahead and do that. So this is downloading the prereq ubuntu.sh script. Now we need to, this has been downloaded, you can check that. Yeah, so you can see prereq ubuntu.sh has been downloaded, but we need to make this file executable, and for this we have this command over here to make this executable. So step-by-step process is given in the documentation. I'm just following that so that you just get started, and let's paste it over here. So the file has become executable. Now we need to run this script, and what this script is going to do is, first let me run it and then I'll let you know what it's going to do. Just copy it from here and paste it. Okay, so this is running now. So this script is going to do, it's going to download everything that is required for running Fabric and Composer, that is Docker, Node.js, Git, etc. So while this is running, let's take a look at some of these. And the first thing is that it's going to download Docker for you, Docker container. Now you don't need to download this because the prereq scripts are already downloading it for you, but we need to understand what it is. And so Docker is a container environment, and what is a container? We will go to this resources and check out what is a container over here, and just browse down. Okay, so I wanted to get to this image over here. Now we just downloaded virtual machine, and what virtual machine does is on some infrastructure, which is this infrastructure over here, you have hypervisor and some host OS. On top of your host OS, you install a virtual machine manager such as VMware or VirtualBox, which we have. Within that virtual machine, you install a guest OS, and then you install libraries, then you run that app that can only run on that virtual machine. So this is how it works. Now this becomes quite heavy because virtual machine is a full-fledged machine. It's going to have full-fledged operating system running on top of it, and this makes virtual machines very slow and requires a lot of computational power, and therefore it's not it makes the system very slow. And what Docker does is, now the way Docker handles this is, instead of creating a virtual machine on top of host OS, you have the Docker executable, which is this one, and it enables container. They are like lightweight virtual machine, and instead of containing full-fledged guest OS, it contains libraries and the library it requires to run. And what Docker is going to do is that it's going to translate all the calls from these to something that host OS can understand. So now we have one host OS, and which enables these apps on this to run even if it was not written for it. So this was the difference between this. You don't need to know it in detail, but obviously it's good to know. And the second thing that prereq script is downloading for you is Node.js. Now Node is a server-side JavaScript engine which will allow you to execute JavaScript on server side. It is a very powerful framework, and we are going to use Composer to actually communicate to Fabric through Node.js. You don't really have to know Node.js, but it definitely helps if you want to use it in production. So this was Node.js. Let's go ahead and check whether, okay, so we can see over here that yeah, the prereq scripts have downloaded all the dependencies, and it's asking me to log out then log in before continuing. So I'm going to do that, and let's end this part over here. And in the next section, what we're going to do is we're going to install the dev environment, because we are done away with the prereqs. So prereqs is done. Now it's a development environment. So now for development environment, we are going to install all the CLI tools, which we'll go through it, and we'll see. So thank you for watching, and hopefully keep subscribed, and gives a thumbs up. It's going to be interesting. We are going to build our first practical example, and good thing is we'll be using the documentation, which will actually help out. If you in future something changes, you will be able to go and maneuver it, navigate it on this website itself. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video. Thank you very much.